How was your week, Dora?
My week has been excellent, actually. Welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love, and thank you, Mark, for asking. I do appreciate that as well. This week has been a great week. Making a lot of new connections, getting a little bit more out into my area, starting to meet people. With me recently moving from Texas to Michigan, it was like a whole brand new arena, and literally going through some of my stuff was funny because it allowed me to see how I actually have done what I've been doing, because I'm pulling out my notes and different things and putting things away, sorting stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, here's the exact blueprint of what I need so I can do this success again and where I begin. And so that was really a positive for me this week when I ran and stumbled into all of that again. When I was unpacking some stuff, I was like, oh, that'll help me to really get a solid jump on what I'm doing, because it's easy to forget what we're learning. And I'm grateful that I am a person who loves to take notes even on my own self, because if I hadn't done it, would I have known how to tell other people how to do it? Not really, because I would have personally not allowed myself to remember the precise details to each step that brought me where I am today. So now I can just duplicate it again and just follow my own process and know that it'll be a good outcome, because I've done it already once before. And now I'm just expanding it. Now I've got one area already that's really solid, that whenever I do something that I can connect with. And then I have a new area that I'm now building, so it'll allow me to expand a lot more.
Good. Great.
I want to start today's class with reading a little bit from Ecclesiastes, and it's Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful and appropriate in its time. He has planted eternity, a sense of divine purpose, in the human heart. A mysterious longing which nothing under the sun can satisfy except God. Yet man cannot find out, comprehend, or grasp what God has done, his overall plan from the beginning to the end. Here we see that everything has a perfect plan of divine purpose in each of us. So here we are, we can see that we actually have had it implanted into the very core, the soul of our being, is to have a sense of divine purpose. And that's literally written in the Word of God, through the Bible. Here we are in the scriptures reading, and if you really read, you can get a deeper understanding and a sense of knowing who you truly are to the core part of you. So I want to move into our affirmations today, and I chose 2 of them. I believe in my ability to achieve, and I am increasing and getting better every day. Everything starts within. When we are setting out to do even a simple goal or changing the trajectory of our entire life, it doesn't matter what it is. If we come back to the simple space of beginning within, there's nothing that we can shift or change outside of us until we begin working within us. So the belief, as I believe, or the belief of, is an acceptance that something is truth or exists. The ability is the possession of the means or skills to do something with talent or proficiency. So I believe in my ability to achieve is a successful being about, or the successfully being about, or reaching a desired objective, a level, or result by effort, skill, or courage. So when I believe in my ability to achieve, I'm literally accepting the truth and possessing the skill and the talent to do something with proficiency and successfully bringing about and reaching a desired objective or result by the effort and the skill and my courage to do it. So that is what the basis of I believe in my ability to achieve really means. So when we look at what each word represents and what its definition really comes down to, here's the thing, we lose the definition of each word that we speak. As we're just going about, we begin to just know, it's just a knowing, it's the word that's the appropriate space. But are we really acknowledging what power is behind each one of those words? And when we take that time and begin to reach into each word of what we're speaking, we're realizing that we have now the power of the positive or the negative. So when you first think about a goal or a situation or the circumstance around you, what is your first go-to? Where some people think to the positive, while others think to the negative. And how do we switch or do what we need to do so that we can get into right alignment? So here's where I am, like before I began really my journey, my first was I can't. And I can remember growing up hearing can't never did a damn thing. That was what I heard over and over again throughout life was can't never did a thing. So I was like, but I can't because I didn't know. When I don't have a knowing, I feel like I can't. And then I also felt like I don't know. Here I was stuck in a space I didn't know. There was no education, there was no training, there was no direction. So I felt lost. And how often can we feel lost in a situation because we've never experienced it before? I also felt for a long time that things weren't possible because I felt like a failure before I even began. I felt broken before I even had a chance because of circumstances and situations that I had endured as a young child that literally shifted the process that was inside of my head. I was beginning to believe in the beginning, I believed that there was really no real reason for me, no purpose, I felt squashed, squashed out before I even began. So it was a hard road when you felt that you were, when you feel like you don't have a space to begin, you don't feel like you have a space to fit in. So you come into every situation feeling like the outsider looking in going, oh, a lot of times you have great ideas, but because of the life you had, it's caused you to feel like you can't speak up. Like it literally will get stuck in your throat and you can't even speak. So when you have these things going on in your life, it's harder to get to the next level because there's a whole lot of verbiage that's going on inside, a lot of chatter that makes you believe that maybe I can't. No matter how much I'm putting in, there's still a subtle noise going on within. That is possible to get rid of because I did it. But it's literally taking and bringing yourself from a negative to the positive. It's turning and finding a way to flip the script within. So what does that mean? It means that yes, I can achieve the things that I want to achieve. But how do I begin to believe that? It comes with repetition. It comes with finding a way to make a small success so that I can acknowledge myself to grow into the larger successes. So it's a little step at a time. When we look at the ladder, and we see a ladder, you can see the rungs and they could feel like we're reaching forever to get to the next one. or we can do the small little things of working within ourselves to build the extra steps to get to that next. So we take the small steps to get there. And why not? Why shouldn't we do that? Because that makes the things possible. So we are possible. What does that mean? It means that we're unlimited. But it's how do we begin to believe that? Where does that belief shift? Having an infinite number of solutions is the definition of unlimited. Having an infinite number of solutions is the definition of being unlimited. So at that point, when you thought before I just said that, what was your idea of unlimited? And I'm going to ask Lorraine real quick.
Yeah, unlimited is infinite. That's what my understanding of it is, like endless possibilities.
How often do you equate yourself as being unlimited?
Not as often as I should.
And that is where we all start, not having any idea what we're capable of actually achieving. But growing into that knowledge, it requires somebody else to say, hey, you are unlimited. It requires somebody to give you a little bit of information. But it requires us, as the individual who's received the information, to search it out, to seek it, to understand its fullness and its meaning before we will ever comprehend how to clothe ourselves in it. So that brings me to the space of, do you understand the value and the importance of pulling yourself into alignment and what that even means? Mark, I'm going to ask you that question. Do you understand the importance of alignment, or do you even understand what that means to bring yourself to balance through alignment?
Yeah, I do understand well, I listen a lot to Abraham Hicks, so there's a lot of good info there. Yeah, well, I understand more and more. I think it's a dual process where you learn to love yourself, and then I wrote when you can't, it's because you don't have the awareness or the knowledge. And when you can, when you believe you can, it's because you have both. You have the awareness and the knowledge. And for me, it's like primal important to keep myself as much as I can in the alignment. It's a choice, if I want to receive good or bad, it's to keep myself in the good alignment, by like we talked at the beginning, the people that I associate with, what I watch on TV, what I read, do I watch the news, whatever I listen, whatever I think, and whatever I say. So it's like, primal, it's like in a way, it's like I have a choice, but I have no choice, because what I want to live is being fulfilled. I want to live freedom. So then it doesn't give me a choice, that I have to keep myself in that alignment. Yeah. And the best way that I found out to do is like what I was telling to Dr. Kim, is laugh. Is have fun. And that's what Abraham Hicks says is, make yourself feel good. Find ways to feel good. Forget about what you want. Just make yourself feel good. And what you want will come into alignment. And then
the feeling space is really important when coming into manifesting.
Yeah.
Because if you can't think it and feel it, you're not going to meet it. The feeling sensation of it, and knowing, like, if it's bringing you such joy and you have the idea, once you have the joy plus the idea of it, it literally then unfolds in front of you. And that's where the magic of it all begins, whatever word you want to throw in there. This is where it just comes to life. Because we are the creator of our own story. What is our story? Dr. Kim, you look like you had something to speak into this space. Oh, you're muted, ma'am.
I'm just noticing for myself a bit of a struggle to feel in alignment today, to generate alignment today. My mind is saying all this, crap, to be honest. And my heart is a little sad. And yet I know I'm a divine sovereign soul having this human experience. And, I'm surrounded by a winter wonderland. And, I just caught myself looking out the window and it's exquisite. So in this moment, there's actually nothing wrong. And yet, absent this conversation, it felt like, oh, there's so much wrong. I can't do this, I can't do that, da, 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 da. So I really appreciate this conversation and the safety of this community to just, be where I am and not have to be somewhere else.
Thank you. I'm glad that I help others, I mean, it's not really the help, it's the assistance of walking somebody into a new perspective that allows them to open and grow from where they're at. And having that ability to do that with others just brings me such joy. So that, for me, hearing that, Dr. Kim, was really speaking to my soul. Thank you. Yeah, like you literally just spoke down into my soul, because that's the purpose and the reason why I do what I do, is to be that person, to help them to see they don't have to stay where they're at, that they can grow, that they can do better, and it is possible. Because if I had stuck with the labels that were placed in my life, then I would have never believed that I would be possible. I would have believed that, well, the statistics state because you endured this during this time and you endured that during this time, and because you did all of these things, that there was no way for me to cross that bridge of life, because there was already so many obstacles in the way. Just from the words alone created a division in who I was. And because, when you endure sexual abuse when you're quite young, you don't have any trust for the world around you, because it was broken before you could even begin. You didn't have the words to say because you didn't even know better. You didn't know what was right, wrong, or indifferent. And as you grow, you allow circumstances and situations to continue. And they begin to build, and other circumstances come in, and you don't have any ability to trust your own intuition and guidance. So you make the decisions that everybody else is making because they're like, well, why not? You might look like everyone's having a good time. So you get involved in a lot of the things and become part of the influence. You accept the influence of others. You begin to share that influence out because it just becomes the process. And whether or not you're leading or guiding by truth or through the lies that you have been taught is really where you're at. And you can do it with a whole good heart and not even know that you're doing it wrong, because you have such a clout inside your head that keeps you from being able to see, because this is all you know. So when you have nothing but this knowing, it's not that you're literally acting out and doing something wrong. It's the fact that you're doing what you know. But you can learn another way. You can unlearn what you've learned and change it to become something you want to do instead. You have that ability within. Nobody is exempt from that ability. The only time we're exempt from that is when we speak and declare, I can't. When those words come out of our mouth, we're literally telling everything within our mind that, yeah, that's not possible. Because our words have power. And that power literally shuts it down or turns it on. We have the skill. It doesn't require somebody else. It requires us to make a decision. And that's the basis of it all. What decision do you really want? is this serving me for my good? Or is this tearing down my life and sabotaging me? Do I like it or don't I like it? And what do I want to do next? So making a decision on where you want to go, regardless of whether or not you know the plan of how to get there, it's just making the decision. Everything else will line up and find its way to you as long as you make a decision. And that's the part that I found that I fell in love with about my life, because I realized that regardless of the statistics and the model that everyone else wanted to put me in, the box that everyone else said I was supposed to live in, I didn't have to live there. I could make the choice to step out of it, look back in, and figure out what was beneficial about that box that was going to serve me in a way that I could serve others. So I could literally scoop out of that box whatever it was that I knew was a lesson. I didn't have to keep the pain of it. I could lay the pain down and leave it right there where it was, in the past. Choose that today I am filled up every day with a new opportunity to go out and make it the best day possible. And every day, if I remember that when I get up and go to get out of bed, that today is a new day and I can make it the best day possible. That I can meet myself in that day every day and enjoy it without having to relive the circumstances from my past or get too caught up in the details of what might come from my future, because I'm living in the current moment. Which then allows us, once we're in alignment, that's how in the mornings, I can do my breath work and I can breathe into each space from the heavenly into the crown, down through the third eye, into the throat, down the body, into the heart, the solar plex, into the sacral and the root. And I can bring that fullness and turn on my light body and know that nothing from exterior can come through and penetrate and destroy who I am now. It took a lot of practice and a lot of time to learn that. And it was okay. It was okay that it took that long, because that was my divine time to know it, so that I can sit here today and share that with you. So it allows us to open the door once we come into alignment to allow ourselves boundless opportunities. So in that, we are in a space of remembering the importance that this all brings within us. So the balance and the alignment literally brings us to a place of understanding the importance that life begins within us, not from without. We have to be the starting point. I can't expect anybody else to bring me an answer. I can hope that there will be somebody that's going to step up along the side and come and whisper in my ear and tell me every sweet, wonderful nothing in the world that I could possibly wait for. But I had to learn that it started here. It started with me turning inward and looking to myself to make the difference by beginning with loving myself. To love myself is the key to loving the world around me. I could never love another until I loved myself. And the reason that is because that is where the shift begins. Because now we're no longer sitting in a space of looking to the outside world for our answer. We're now literally beginning to follow the soul. And the soul will never lead us wrong. Because we have a perfect divine spirit that has been deposited in each one of us and allows us to connect properly with one another. And it allows us to become gentle because we've begun working on ourselves and we knew how gentle we had to be on us. So we can actually see the rest of the world from the eyes of where we've felt pain. And it allows us to have more compassion for those around us. Because once I began to do the work within, it allowed me to see others as they truly were, hurting and reacting as I once did. And I can have more respect for them in their space because I can remember when I was there too. Lorraine, go ahead. Jump in here.
Okay, so when you were talking about the divine stuff, I just wrote something the other day about a quote that pertains to me in my life. And the quote is, "Everything happens for a reason." This saying is, it reassures me, it reminds me that what has happened to me and what will happen to me in the future is all part of a divine master plan. It helps me accept my past bad experiences. It serves to show me lessons. It helps me to teach others from my experience and the lessons I've learned, and it soothes me to some extent as well. So I think that might pertain to everybody here almost. They could relate to it, but I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you. Everybody needs words that encourage them. Everybody. Some need a lot more than others. And especially if we've come from a lot of wounding, we generally need a lot more because it's that reinforcement of knowing the truth of ourselves instead of believing the lies that everyone told us. We are worthy. And understanding our worthiness is hard to understand. We are beautiful. We're sexy. We're intelligent. We're in a space like Joe and I say back and forth to each other, only good things are before us. Only good things are before, even if it's a lesson, and that's a good thing. Doesn't matter what the situation is, or today I'm living in paradise. I can choose to make this hell, or I can choose to make it a paradise. I have a choice, and that's taking it from the negative thought or the positive thought. Where do I want to shift it inside my mind? I have the power to do that. That's the only power. That's the only control any of us have. I cannot control anyone else in the world. But the only one I can control is me. And if I choose to control myself, program myself, determine the things that are right and wrong for myself, it is going to allow me to interact with others in a beneficial way because I'm working and controlling here. Instead of somebody coming in and, oh my gosh, they just dumped the coffee pot all over the floor and it broke and everything. How am I going to respond to that? And generally, most people are going to react and they're going to be like, oh my God, they're going to freak out over it. While, because I've done so much inner work, I'm going to be like, well, that happens. It happens. Well, let's just get a new coffee maker, a new coffee pot, whatever we need to get, to replace what's been broken. The other day was perfect. Xander, which is Joe's son, and I were making muffins, and it was the first time he's really working with the oven, and the heat was an overstimulation the thought of the heat scared him, and he dropped those things everywhere. And he expected to be yelled at. And I was just like, and he panicked for half a second, and I saw the panic, and I was like, accidents happen. It's not a big deal. We just clean it up. It happens. I've done it. No, yeah, I have. I've dropped stuff, made huge messes in the kitchen. It's not the first. Everyone does it when they're learning. For him, that allowed him the comfort to come back to the kitchen to do it again. It's how we react and respond to another of whether or not they're going to come back and interact with us. So it's our responsibility to only control us and how we react or respond. And we won't want to get to that place where we can just respond and not react. Finding that peace and that patience within ourselves, the gentleness within ourselves. If we're gentle with us, why not be gentle with someone else? So I want everyone this week, I want you to think about this week. And I want you to think about all of those moments that you may have let yourself down. Not measured up in your opinion. Thought that I should have done this instead of that. The point is you did exactly what you were supposed to do at the precise moment as it was happening, or you wouldn't have done it. So you have to forgive yourself and be like, okay, it was a lesson learned. But I want you to take all of those things and whatever did not serve you this week, I want you to take those things into the fountain. And I actually want to do the fountain work with everyone today. So I want you to get comfortable in a space where you can just sit back, close your eyes, and allow yourself to just think about all those things that you want to release through your life, that you just know are not serving you well. It can be your addictions, it can be your fears, it can be your self-doubt, it can be your limiting beliefs, it can be those feelings of feeling less than when you know you're more. It's those conflicting thoughts that happen to all of us. And I want you to literally bring all of those things up, allow them to percolate in your mind and pop up. See those things for what they are. Just a moment. And they don't have to live with you forever. And you have a right to deposit them into the fountain and let them wash away. So I want you to go ahead now to imagine the garden before you. You've just entered some amazing gates, flashing back and forth, and the gates are opened wide for you. And before you is a garden. You have lush trees and plants and flowers of every color. And right in the middle, you see a fountain that's so massive that you can't wait. You have a longing within your soul to get in. Because you've been separated from the pure water, the light waters that can restore your soul. And I want you to go ahead and step up to it. Step up and into the fountain and into the waters, because this is mental. You have the ability to do that and walk right in, and you can feel those soothing waters as they swirl about all around your legs, your feet. And as you walk forward, I want you to see that cascading flow of water with light coming down, the white light of healing coming down from the top of the fountain. And that you have the right to step in. So when you're ready, step forward and allow those waters cascading from the top of this fountain down onto your crown. Go ahead and open up and allow this water to rush in through the crown, down into the third eye, allowing it to wash every space within your mind of anything that's no longer serving you. You know the story, what you were thinking about before we entered in. You know, all those things that are no longer serving you, that you want to deposit and get rid of, go ahead and circle them up and bring them into that light waters, down into the throat, into your throat chakra, and all the vibrational stories that you've created over time. Go ahead and bring those, allow those to come up and get washed out as well, because you have the right to speak life into yourself and not death. Down into your shoulders, down your arms, into your fingertips, and back up into your heart center, and allow this light to burst open and cleanse every area. If there's any hardening to your heart, allow it to wash it away. Any calcified deposits can be removed, and that the light can just beam through and bring you back to a place of healed restoration, down into the solar plex, into the sacral, into the very root of your being, allowing you to finally feel cleansed of all of this past that is no longer serving. Bring that down into the calves, into the feet, and down into Mother Gaia, as far away from you as possible, deep, deep, deep into the core of the earth. Go ahead and just bring back up the light, leaving all of that past behind. Bringing back up the light just to continue to wash and cleanse through the feet, into the calves, into the thighs, into the very root. Sit tall. Bringing that light back up through into the solar plex, into the heart. And I actually want to bring that light back down into the solar plex, into the sacral, into the root. I want you to go ahead and allow this to really cleanse you from the root of who you are. Bringing it back up into the sacral, into the solar plex, into the heart, into your throat, so you can speak life and life more abundant, because that's your birthright. Up into the third eye, revealing and allowing you to see the pathway to your success. Back up into the heavenlies. Bring in just the light again with the waters, just to wash down through the crown, into the third eye, into the throat, into the heart, into the solar plex, the sacral, the root. Bring that back up through your spinal column and into the base of your brain. Allowing yourself to be cleansed, healed, restored. And when you're ready, go ahead and allow that light to go back up into the heavenlies. And be thankful today that you've received your healing. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. How's everyone doing? Dr.
Doing
Kim
great.
had to go.
I'm doing great, actually.
I'm good too.
Yeah, I felt it like, but I was talking to Mark about it because, every time I open up here, especially like third eye and the brain, like I feel some kind of pressure. I think it's normal. And,
It's really recalibrating you then. You've had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that you've carried.
Yeah.
So when you're opening up that crown and that third eye, you're literally illuminating so much that's going on that it probably feels quite overwhelming, and you probably get a lot of visual effects of memories.
yeah.
And I want you to know, Mark, if you ever need someone to go to that can help you to clean up some of that, you know, space where you can actually do some techniques that will help you to alleviate and allow you to shift from the negative to the positive. I really do have a couple techniques that I use. And if you need that, I'm definitely here for you. Lorraine, I think she's gone through a couple of my tools and I've helped her to shift from a negative to a positive, and there's a couple little things that I do. In your opinion, how was that for you?
I liked it. It helped.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
it's definitely an option, and I'm not worried about anything. We're here through Noble Goldman. If you just reach out, we'll figure out what we need to figure out one way or another. That's the nice thing about having Noble Goldman. We have a way that we can make it work for everyone.
Yeah.
It was messaging me. Somebody else was trying to get into the class and I kept trying to get them in and it didn't work. So I got distracted. I apologize, but I am grateful for each one of you. I know that Dr. Kim is getting ready to probably do the Soul and Noble Goldman. So if you guys are headed over there, I'll see you there in just a minute. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope today really helped you.
I did, really. Yeah.
Bye for now, y'all.
I feel giddy.
Have a great day, Mark. Bye,
Hold on.
Darla. Thank you.
Hold on, Mark, what were you gonna say?
I feel giddy.
Giddy? Yay!
Yeah,
That's
no,
good.
but especially when you said like bring it back into through your spine, like I still feel it. Like my spine is like all fresh and like it's been like that's
Like you feel like you could just stand taller?
yeah. It's just like, oh, okay. Pretty amazing. I
Good.
never did it this way. Thanks. That was really cool.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate you. Yeah. Love you both. Bye.
Bye for now, y'all.